people, as well as literally hundreds of others, both at Walt Disney Imagineering and Lucasfilm, to create, hopefully, really exciting experiences for all of you.
He's very good at his job. I work very closely with Asa. I'm a creative producer. I take all of the amazing ideas that we all think of for new experiences in our parks and figure out how we actually do them. We get to work with computer scientists, roboticists, artists, engineers, all of the above to be able to bring these experiences to life for you guys to all live your Star Wars dream.
Yes, I have an incredibly cool job. I couldn't imagine that I could get this job ever in my life. I'm an executive creative director for live entertainment, so we do shows and productions all around the world, spectaculars, you name it. But I have a special focus on the Star Wars portfolio, so I get to work very closely with Matt and of course the entire WDI team to bring live things and live experiences to our parks.
Now, Matt, as far as Lucasfilm, where do you fit in?
So I'm part of the Lucasfilm franchise story group. So I work on kind of Star Wars storytelling across the board. So I work with creators to help them tell the best Star Wars stories that they can tell, make sure all the lore is buttoned up, and try to connect things across different mediums, which includes video games, animation, publishing, and of course Disney Parks with this team.
To know all of you, I want to tell you, because this is so important to all of us, it's all about the fandom, and these are real big Star Wars fans, so they're making Star Wars for you. It's Star Wars by fans for fans, and so before we dive in, I want you to tell your origin story as Star Wars fans, because you go way back, and Matt, I think we have a really cute picture of you. Let's take a look. Aww.
So yeah, I've been working on Star Wars for close to 18 years now, so it's been a part of my work life for a long time, but clearly it's been a part of my personal life for even longer. I kind of got into Star Wars during that time where you couldn't really find Star Wars merchandise, before the special edition, before the prequels. And my parents were amazing and would go out of their way to garage sales and classified ads to find me toys that I wanted. And this is a particularly successful Christmas where I got a lot of good Star Wars stuff. The Ewok movies on VHS. Yeah, lots of good stuff.
I love the VHS.
Still worth watching, still worth watching.
I still have it all.
Now, Michael, you go way back too. You've got a great picture.
Yeah, I had a pretty good Christmas that year as well. My buddy Chewbacca, we've been hanging out for a long time. Yeah, as you can see, as the old-timer on this panel, I got to see Star Wars as a child in the theaters, and I've seen all the films in theaters throughout the entire time. So it has been a part of my core life as a fan, and playing with toys and living out. I lived through the Dark Ages. There was no new Star Wars happening. So it's so exciting to still be a part of new Star Wars happening, new films, new series, and then to get to create new things in the parks. I mean, that has been the sort of amazing journey for me, is this ability to love something as a child and then love it again as an adult child, basically.
Yeah, I don't have Christmas.
You know what? Neither do I, Anisha. I'm really jealous right now.
I'm a new fan, I'll be honest, and I think that's one of the greatest things about Star Wars, that anyone can join this amazing community at any point in time, right? I joined the Walt Disney Company because of Star Wars, to work on Galaxy's Edge specifically and bring new places in the universe to life for people like you to go and live and breathe and play and the community of Star Wars and the community of Imagineering now is building Star Wars, which is by fans for fans, has been so incredibly welcoming and has turned me into the deepest of fans as a result. And so for any of those people out there who are like, I'm a new fan of Star Wars, what am I doing here? You belong. It's such an important part of being a part of the Star Wars fan.
Yes.
One of
I
us.
see.
One of us.
Yes. Awesome. Now I have a really cute photo too. Let's show it.
Yes, my Star Wars story and Disney Park story actually began at the same time. This was from a trip when I was about 8 years old. It's just cropped out there, but I'm actually standing on Mickey Mouse's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This was the one and only time I got to visit Disneyland prior to becoming a cast member. And at the time, I was so deeply obsessed with all things sci-fi that I literally refused to leave Tomorrowland. So I had never seen any other land until I came back as a full-blown adult. But one thing that I did and wanted to do over and over and over again was ride Star Tours. I still, yeah. It was like really formative experience for me. I was, forget suspension of disbelief. Right? I was totally bought into the idea that me and my father had been transported, around the moon of Endor, and I couldn't believe that I was back in the real world when I stepped off.
Wait,
Eventually, you might have made it to Andor. Keep trying.
I was gonna say, we didn't really don't go to Endor. Also.
Listen, I was 8 years old. This is the sense ever I have.
Well, but that's the magic of Disney, and I say that because I too, like you, actually got to go to Disney's Hollywood Studios and ride Star Tours as a kid. I actually got to be there the week it opened, and I'll never forget it. It was very real to me too, and I got a plush view off. And Star Tours still to this day is so special to people. What do you think is its staying power?
Yeah, I think part of what makes Star Tours so wonderful, right, is that it celebrates the entire breadth of the canon, right? So whether you discovered Star Wars through the original trilogy, the prequels, sequels, whatever it might be, right? It's a really great way to not only, again, watch those characters have amazing adventures, but also feel like you're part of them as well.
And it was really the first time people got to step into Star Wars. Back in '87 when it launched, that was, mind-blowing. And for a lot of people, it was even their first kind of Star Wars theatrical experience. It was mine. And yet now, as Austin said, there's so many new ways to experience it. So there's always kind of something new and fresh for everybody.
It's also the first time you kind of expanded beyond the films or the TV series by that point. We really got to go kind of someplace else and be different and a whole new world. It really is the predecessor that gets us eventually to Galaxy's Edge, is this idea that you could live out a different story. I remember as a kid freaking out that there was other things to learn in Star Wars. It's amazing.
So speaking of, since it originated, there's so many new adventures that guests can go on, especially now here, right down the road at Tokyo Disneyland. So can you tell us about some of those new adventures?
Yeah, guests can actually now visit Cetos as of like a week or two ago from Disney Plus series Ahsoka, as well as 250 possible storyline variations. So you keep trying.
No.
You'll keep seeing new things. And this is at all of the parks that has the
That Martin
featured
is
Star
lying.
Wars. So we got it in California, at Walt Disney World in Florida, and at Disneyland Paris. In addition to that, we also have the transmissions that kind of come up, the holograms, and we added a few new ones, including Ahsoka Tano, Mando and Grogu, and even Cassian Andor.
Well, speaking of Cassian Andor, we have a special message from everyone's favorite rebel spy. Let's patch it.
Hi, my name is Diego, and I play Cassian Andor from the Star Wars series Andor. I'm so excited for you to see Season 2 on Disney+. Did you know you can also see Cassian on Star Tours The Adventures Continue? Aboard to our Star Speeder 1000 at Disney parks around the world, and now, right here at Tokyo Disney Resort, you may receive an urgent transmission from yours truly after evading enemy fire, first story, and embarking on a unique journey that will be sure to thrill them. I had the pleasure of working with Walt Disney Imagineering to bring this experience to life, and it was so fun seeing Cassian in a new way.
That's so exciting. I also have to say, there's no better feeling than when you get chosen as the rebel spy, right? Isn't that like such a fun feeling? What's also fun is Grogu. And Matt, you mentioned Grogu, and I hear that he will soon be part of Millennium Falcon's Smuggler's Run. So, Anisha, can you tell us a little bit about this new storyline?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you not familiar with Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, it is one of our attractions at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World in Florida. We are telling a brand new story here for Mando and Grogu, where you are going to be piloting the Millennium Falcon along with your crew. Hondo's version of the story here is a little different than maybe what the truth actually is. He's not the most trustworthy guy in the world. If you really from the animated shows, he's got a reputation. So in his version of the story, right, the New Republic has made a deal with him specifically to go on an important mission to catch this bounty. There's Imperial remnants all around the galaxy. Are trying to make sure the New Republic's trying to make sure that they're all caught. But for some reason, they've asked this like Mandalorian guy to come along just for, I don't know, extra muscle maybe. I don't know what he's worried. But he's decided to, say, borrow the Millennium Falcon, just conveniently parked there. And we're gonna go with Mando and Grogu and find these Imperial remnants and track them down and collect the bounties. And if we're doing our jobs for Hondo properly, we're gonna collect some cargo along the way so he can get his cut at the end of the mission.
That Hondo.
He's a weird guy. All he cares about is the bottom line.
It's true.
And his reputation, I guess. It's like an honor to get able to work on the New Republic mission.
And you know, shout out to Jim Cummings, Disney legend Jim Cummings. I actually got to stand right next to Jim in the studio as he was just coming up with the character of Hondo. So much of it was ad-libbed, and he really made it up on the spot. And it's just incredible to see this character that we watched from nothing in the studio now be a part of you know, Galaxy's Edge and Smuggler's Run. It's amazing. Okay, I want to know, this is where I start to geek out about the process. So when you get a new idea or a new storyline, how long does it take from the idea to when the guest is sitting in the cockpit? What is that process like?
Yeah, I mean, so for the second mission, it's probably going to be about 18 months, start to finish. And this whole experience really begins to quite with the story, right? Working alongside Matt, in this case, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, to figure out what is the story that we want to tell. From there, we then start to think a lot about what are some of the destinations that people might want to go visit. Again, maybe being able to finally fulfill my childhood dream of visiting Endor. And now I could do that. And so the next thing that we start to do is we partner with the incredible team up at Industrial Light and Magic on the visual development, right? Trying to define what do these worlds want to look like, what do they want to feel like. But again,
Plus, what are you going to do in them, right? Like, how do you fly through all of these different locations? What does the mission feel like? What is the interactive element that makes it feel like you guys are the ones in the cockpit, flying the Falcon, gunning down TIE fighters, and fixing the ship? It's an incredible iteration process. It's all about that crew, and what matters most to us is that you guys have a fun run on the Millennium Falcon. So with the mechanics, the responsiveness, and everything, I think we have a screenshot of it here. We're developing this new mission in Unreal Engine 5 with upgraded graphics, top of the line stuff there. And part of that too is because the ride is operating. You can go on it like today, like park's not operating right now, right? Tonight, right? But because we're developing this while the ride is running and use the parks, we're using VR to develop a lot of the mission design, play through the mission in addition to then reviewing it in the actual cockpit after hours. There's lots of late nights, lots of like nighttime riding Millennium Falcon in our future.
Okay, that's so cool. And I have to ask, how many times have you rode Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run? Because it's literally part of their job to ride the run over and over and over again. That's the ultimate fast pass, the ultimate lightning lane.
It's been a couple hundred for me, but you were on the original mission, so I don't.
yeah, I mean, I stopped counting at 1,000. So, I mean, I'm well into the 4 digits.
That is incredible. Okay, I have to ask, do you ever get like motion sick, or like how do you prep for something like that?
Well, Anisha's fantastic.
As the producer of the project, one of my many responsibilities is to make sure there's always ginger ale and saltine.
Okay, that's the secret.
Like behind the cockpit backstage, there's just a giant bar with ginger ale cans and saltines.
Okay, that's a fun fact. That's going to be in my park bag moving forward. Okay, so at South by Southwest, your team announced that this update will take guests to new fan favorite locations like Bespin, Endor, and Tatooine. But we want something new here today because it's Star Wars Celebration. Anisha, is there anything you can share with us about a new location we might go to?
All right, we're gonna actually start with the ones that we know of already, but we have some new art to share with you guys today. We're gonna start with Tatooine. I think this is the one that we've shown at South by Southwest, but there will be an encounter with a sandcrawler. One of the best things about Tatooine, first, well, I'm gonna pause for a second. Matt, we have to talk about the Tatooine of it all. We happen to go to Tatooine a lot. Can you explain that?
I mean, we do. We go to Tatooine a lot, but what's interesting about Tatooine is that it is kind of off the beaten path within the context of Star Wars. And you know, we're at a moment where the Empire is really on the back. The Remnant is all that's left, and they need kind of a meeting point that is a good meeting point to maybe meet with some pirates and kind of keep it away from the New Republic. And well, Tatooine actually fits that bill pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a really fun place to fly through too. You've got some iconic locations like Beggar's Canyon. I think we've got a shot of Beggar's Canyon in there. They were going to be flying through, and it's a really great place to sort of hide for that deal. I think one of the next ones is my favorite. Let's see if I can pull it up. This tunnel with like a creature skeleton through it. It's just like really amazing to be able to fly through these worlds. And be able to see like parts of Tatooine that we may not have seen before. Plus, like, I don't know, for me, like there's a section in this that feels a little bit like pod racing, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it definitely gets pod racing vibes, and you get, you know, kind of some Mandoverse elements in there. You've seen Krayt dragons now in the flesh. Now you get to fly through their bones. Not bad, not bad.
Another location that we talked a little bit about at South by Southwest is one of my personal favorites, Cloud City. And what's really exciting about this environment is obviously not only do we get to fly through this beautiful environment at sunset, but we're also going to explore some new areas of Cloud City that we haven't necessarily seen on screen before. So this is a little cargo hangar bay, which is going to be a really fun sort of sequence with cross traffic cutting out of those hangars and us having to dodge at the last possible second.
Speaking of Star Tours, there's like a recognizable one in there. See it?
Ooh,
Little in the
there
front.
an Easter egg?
There's a little star speeder in there.
How
Look,
cool.
There's a tourist group currently visiting Bespin.
And the other thing about Bespin that's really great too is that like it's just this beautiful like lush clouds and like sunset vibes, but like it's also really dangerous. There's these like giant Tabana gas canisters all over the place that you're gonna have to avoid, and make sure that you can get your bounty safely. So that's the whole goal of this, is making sure that you get to the end of the mission.
And then the last one we shared, again, is finally a childhood fantasy brought to life, is visiting the wreckage of the second Death Star in orbit around Endor. What we think is super fun about this is there are these big, massive chunks of debris. And what that's going to allow us to do is sort of revisit the location that we know, but in an entirely new way. So it's going to, we're going to get that experience of what it's like to do a trench run, but it's not quite a complete trench, and maybe because it's in zero G, it's slowly rotating and twisting around us in a really fun way.
The flight dynamics on this one are really, really interesting because of that sort of like always changing environment. You never really know where you're going to go, and there's a lot of really cool branching paths, as they said, make themselves apparent as you're flying through.
You do kind of get the vibes of getting kind of both Death Stars for the price of one, because you get a kind of trench run that feels very much like the Death Star 1, but then you get to go through the innards, torn up, very much like Return of the Jedi. So you kind of get to feel both feelings.
Absolutely. Those images are gorgeous, but I'm going to press even more. Is there another location that we can look forward to?
We didn't want to give everything away at South by Southwest. We wanted to save something for celebration. So we'll be very excited to announce that you'll also be able to visit this city planet of Coruscant.
That kind
Can
of
we
thing.
blow off that art a little bit? There we go.
I think Ahsoka spent some time in Coruscant.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we really want to get to with Coruscant specifically is that we really want that Attack of the Clones vibe, that like speeder chase through the traffic, going up and down and weaving through, and It's such a dynamic environment to fly through with all of these different, elements of the city. Plus, we're going to get to explore part of Coruscant that you've only seen that film or the TV show so far, right?
Yeah, so this is one of those interior, one of those large ventilation shafts that lead down to some of the lower levels of the planet. And again, it's going to be sort of the place where a really important sort of story beat takes place for us.
Yeah, our Imperials are kind of hiding in the netherworld of Coruscant. It's a good place to hide, just like that to me.
Yeah, what's interesting is that we're seeing Coruscant kind of under the control of the New Republic in this era. So again, it's the Empire that are hidden.
Okay, I am so excited about this. I can't imagine anything more thrilling, honestly, than navigating through the twists and turns of Coruscant. Some of my actually favorite Clone Wars moments, Ahsoka, where there was scenes in Coruscant. So, are there any other gameplay opportunities that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, as Anisha was saying, one of the things we're trying to make sure we do with each of these environments is to make sure that they each feel really different, right? Different times of day, a different sort of mood and a different vibe. And so every time that you experience this attraction, it might be a little bit different, right, Anisha?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we haven't talked about yet is that you're going to have to ride it multiple times to be able to see each of these attractions, or each of these different locations. And one of the nice things, I think, as a person who rides Engineer a lot,
Same.
Same.
Lots of buttons.
buttons are really fun, but in this mission there will be a very purposeful button press. Unlike Star Tours, the Engineer is going to be the person who gets to decide which of the planets we go to.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're no longer fighting over the pilot, we're fighting over the engineer's seat.
Yeah. So if you really want to go light speed to Endor, also, you know what to do. I think the other thing about these different environments too that's really fun is that we're doing them all with a little bit of a twist, right? They're really recognizable, really classic places, but because this is your mission with Hondo and and Mando, if you go with Hondo's version of the story, right? You're not reliving someone else's version of that location. We're trying to show you new, unique ways to fly through this, new perspectives, new parts of your story that are unique to you versus reliving something that you've seen in the movies. So you don't have to know everything about these places again as a new fan. It's really nice to be able to create these from a new perspective and see different parts of it. I will also say, as an engineer, sometimes it's hard to see out the front of the cockpit. So we got to give you something on the side screen to do too.
And
We're really excited that Grogu's coming on this mission too, so you get to interact with Grogu as the engineer during the flight.
okay.
That.
Thought so.
Someone's gonna be an engineer down here in the front. I hear it already.
Yeah. The engineer is going to be my new favorite seat. Okay, what is it like collaborating with Lucasfilm and ILM to bring experiences like this to the parks?
I mean, it's an absolute dream come true. Literally, every week, Nisha and I and Matt, we get to see new, beautiful paintings like the ones that you just saw. Literally, every animatic, every piece of media that they share with us is always the most spectacular thing that I've ever seen, and I'm so excited that we'll soon be able to actually fly through this.
Yeah, and we're going down again to the cockpit to do these reviews with them, and just seeing how important the visual fidelity and preciseness of the worlds that we're making is it's incredible to be able to work with them and with Matt. It's truly one team, one dream, right? We're all franchisees in our one specific thing. And Matt helps us make sure that everything stays in alignment.
Okay, if there's one thing that you have to do at 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting in the cockpit of the Falcon is not the worst. And honestly, getting to work alongside you guys, getting to work alongside John and Dave, and of course Industrial Light and Magic, it's really a dream come true. As a kid, I always wanted to be an Imagineer. Now I'm kind of Imagineer adjacent.
I think you're an honorary Imagineer at this point.
I'll take it.
You've been in there
I love
cockpit
name
with us
tags.
at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think that counts.
Sweet. Everybody, you all heard it. And what's really, really fun is working with my dear friends at Industrial Light and Magic. I love getting random chats about does it make sense if this ship is in this place? Those are the best questions to feel. So everybody working together to make sure that this is as great as possible is just such a wonderful thing to be a part of.
I think I've sent you a Slack message before about like, what color is that particular ship during that particular episode, that
Yep.
particular season, that particular clone? Like, it's so precise and so like specific. And I just really, I think I speak for everybody. We just really appreciate being able to work with you guys so closely on it, because that's what breaks the fidelity and makes it feel like a real world MOU.
And we know when we get anything wrong, they'll all notice. So we have to try real hard to make sure we don't.
Now you all have been so generous, already bringing some surprises and sneak peeks. Is there anything more you have to share with us?
All right, do one more.
Okay.
You do one more. So we are still in development on this new mission, but we did want to share something with you to give a little taste or a little preview of what you might expect. So what we're going to play for you, I should caveat, is it's going to be in black and white. It's going to not have any lighting in it. It's not going to have any textures. It's not going to be the final visual quality. It's really a timing automatic that we use to get a sense for what the overall experience is going to feel like.
And it will look so much better on May 22nd, 2026, when you get to ride it for the first time.
Thank you for sharing all of that with us. But we have more to share. This panel's still going. Now, you just released something new right before Star Wars Celebration. We've been seeing some familiar faces like Mando and Grogu, and of course Ahsoka. Yes, just walking through Batuu. But Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland just received a visit from a true Star Wars classic for its Seasons of the Force event. Let's take a look. That guy, Luke Skywalker. Now, Michael and Matt, why was it the right time to bring Luke to Batuu?
He was kind of popular. I was surprised.
You mean
Kind of like that guy.
You mean R2 wasn't good enough for him?
He is R2's sidekick, but we think about these things a lot when we look at how we evolve and change our lands and adapt them. As Imagineers, we always think of the idea that Walt kind of put forward is that the parks will never be finished. So we will never be finished doing what we do, which is create new things and new experiences. So as Matt and I continue to work with Asa and everybody about what the look of Batuu is, we had a plan in place. We've been talking about it for years of sort of evolving and bringing these relevant characters like you mentioned, Mandalorian, and we brought in Sabine and Hera. These characters have been appearing in Batuu in California. And as we head to this seasonal event, Season of the Force, we always want to do something kind of special that is sort of unique. And Matt and I had a little chat, and we thought, well, I think this is the time it makes sense for us to have Luke Skywalker finally arrive in Batuu.
Yeah, Luke, kind of made his really triumphant return in The Mandalorian. We just had to see him at the peak of his, Jedi knighthood. And who doesn't want to meet their hero at their peak? So it just felt like it was kind of the natural thing to do. Let's get Luke in here.
So, speaking of Seasons of the Force, it's brought to life the Skywalker story at Disneyland in more ways than one. Here's a look at the all-new projection show, Shadows of Memory, a Skywalker Saga.
Welcome. My name is Tohan Ledge. hateful. A young Jedi learned the old ways. Son must back the father.
I literally just got chills. I cannot wait to see this show. Michael, what was it like developing a nighttime show based on the Skywalker saga?
Well, like Matt said, there are worse things in the world to have to do than to stand out there in the middle of the night, watch the Skywalker saga play out on the spires of Batuu. It really was an amazing journey for us that kind of started with the fans. I'll go back a little bit to a few years ago. We made an observation that in Galaxy's Edge in California, you can see the fireworks kind of to the right on the spires. And people were out there every night watching these fireworks with no music, just a bunch of really loud explosions. And we had this idea, and we said, you know, we can maybe make a show out of this. We know, and Matt and I talked about this, there are fireworks in Star Wars, we've seen that. So why don't we think about how we can make this make sense, and maybe this is an opportunity to bring in John Williams' amazing score to it. So we proposed this idea of the Fire of the Rising Moons, which was basically a spectacular fireworks presentation that happened every night. I sold the parks on it. They were very excited. They said, can you do this? I said, absolutely. That might have been a foolish thing to say, because it's actually not that easy to put music to existing fireworks, and the fireworks people told me I was crazy, which I told before.
You were a little.
A little bit. It's okay. I can live with that.
YOLO.
So we had to create 7 different profiles for 7 different fireworks shows, which took a lot of work. We had an amazing arranger who came in and took basically John Williams music from all over sources. There's a little bit of original Galaxy's Edge music in there. There's things from Tokyo Disneyland in there. So as you watch the fireworks experiences, you'll hear lots of different John Williams music and different things, and each program does have a theme, does have a sort of story. And with that, we created a storyteller who sort of helped introduce it each night, and a droid that was sort of our conduit for this experience. So again, working close with Matt, trying to create new lore, trying to make it make sense in the world of Batuu, and just a fully immersive place. Well, fireworks don't go every night, so there is a desire to have something on those nights when there's no fireworks. So in discussion with our creative team and with Matt and everybody, I had this idea, why don't we look at these spires and do something different and unique, and look at, really for the first time ever for live entertainment, create an immersive inland story experience through projections. Something that feels like it belongs in the world of Star Wars, but also, you know, tells a story that we all know very well. And I didn't want it to be something so obscure. I wanted it to be able to reach all audiences. And as we chatted about it, it just seemed so obvious that the story we all love so dearly and are so familiar with is the Skywalker story of Anakin's ascension to the dark side, and eventually redemption by Luke. So that was really important for us to dig into that story and find a unique way of telling that. And that's where we sort of talked a lot about lore and how do we think of what storytellers are in the world of Galaxy's Edge. And really, Matt and I had a lot of great conversations about making this a mythology, if you will. Not just a retelling like there's no before, because that wouldn't make any sense. There aren't any movies of Star Wars and Galaxy's Edge. So we literally dug in and created our own storyteller and a new way of telling the story through visual elements. Our partners with Moment Factory were amazing. They did amazing visuals on the spires for us. And you're seeing here a little behind the scenes of us working on creating the visual identity of Tohan Lej, who is our storyteller. Tohan, he is voiced by Stephen Stanton. I think a lot of you know Stephen with his amazing work, yes? Some people on the internet, I think, figured that out already. But Stephen is in our voice.
He could do every voice, so it's hard to pick it out.
It is. I mean, he can do everything. Do my voice if he needed to. So he did the voice, but then we needed to figure out what he visually looked like, because we did create a hologram effect outdoors in the show. So talking with Matt, I had this idea of a storyteller who was dressed in robes, older, and I really liked the idea of a blind storyteller who could see, through his mind's eye or different ways, and that's how he encountered this. And it was Matt who actually said there is a species that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so he is a Miraluka. So all of you Knights of the Old Republic fans are probably very familiar with this species, but we haven't seen him a lot in kind of modern storytelling. So it was really cool to be able to bring him, to a really broad audience in a way that this species really hasn't got that kind of spotlight.
And also, of course, we got to create some new music. We did have to fill in some gaps of music we didn't have for the show, so we went out to Abbey Road, and Bill Ross, who did so many amazing conducting for John Williams, actually conducted the series for us, and helped us create more music. It's been really an amazing journey that I always say did start with the fans out there watching fireworks nightly, has led to this amazing, beautiful show we have in California right now.
Kind of what you alluded to, I think what's so cool about it is that we are seeing the Skywalker saga told the way it would be told in the Star Wars galaxy. We always see Star Wars as sort of a modern myth in our world, but the legend of Luke, the legend of Anakin, it's a thing there too. We kind of get to see it firsthand.
Well, nighttime spectaculars are the best. It's like the perfect kiss goodnight of your day at the parks. Now, as storytellers, it must feel really gratifying when guests are taking the world that you've built and literally putting it in their own hands. And to me, there's no better experience that embodies this than Sabi's workshops. Now, I hear that truly, every single time I go in there and experience this, I cry. It's very emotional. But I hear there's a new hilt. It's Sabi's. So, Asa and Matt, can you tell us a little bit about the new hilt?
Yeah, I think what's really sort of exciting about Black Spire Outpost and sort of its location in the galaxy is you never know what might turn up in an old derelict, salvaged crate or in a downed space rim. And so there's just been a really exciting recent discovery of what had otherwise been long forgotten hilts.
Yeah, it's kind of pieces of scrap that, a clever Jedi or a clever guest could turn into a lightsaber. We have all of these different themes. We have kind of the classic lightsaber. We have sort of the Old Republic or High Republic style. We have kind of a Sith style. We've got kind of a nature style. But now we have something that's more like what Rey would have made. And now you can go and build your own in that sort of style.
Darn it, I'm gonna need a new lightsaber.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oops!
There's no such thing as too many lightsabers.
I'm running out of wall space.
Time for a new house.
So I think one of the coolest parts about these lightsabers is it allows you to keep living your story. But the world building doesn't stop with the attractions and entertainment and merch. Last year, you introduced the BDX droids to the world. And they've been taking over the internet ever since. They've made stops around the world with Disney Cruise Line and Tokyo Disneyland, and even Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland in Anaheim. Michael, can you tell us, how do the droids fit into the overall storyline on Batuu?
Yeah, I knew them back when nobody knew them. Now they won't return my calls. They're hanging out with Sigourney Weaver, I see.
You're opening for them.
I know, clearly we're opening for them. It's a whole different thing. No, it has been exciting to sort of work on them from the very beginning, to see the Imagineers come up with amazing technology here and us to put a story behind it. We knew, talking with Matt about sort of the where these droids fit, BD1, et cetera, from the different games and whatnot, but how do we put them in the land? We had to kind of come up with identities for them, give them personalities. We wanted to make sure that they made sense in Batuu, so we worked very closely to arrange the idea that they were repurposed droids that now need some retraining. They're here to kind of understand and become better companions to people and other humanoids and aliens. So they're out here sort of learning the ways again like a child, which really allowed us to lean into those base sort of childlike qualities that we love with them. We used to call them little duck droids a little bit because they kind of follow each other like ducks. But the different programmers and operators had all these unique personality traits. So we basically started to define each of them based on how they were being programmed. Some are a little more aggressive, some are a little more funny, some are a little more playful, one's a little not as smart. It's really kind of fun to have these personalities.
I love it. Now, did you ever think when, as a director in live entertainment, you'd be directing droids?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to like be staring at them and like, hey, can you just stop doing that? I mean, I feel kind of crazy a little bit, but it's fun. Kind of directing a puppet.
Again, dream job, dream job. Now, Asa, what is the genesis of the droids, and how long were they in development before taking their first steps?
Yeah, actually surprisingly fast. So they began as a Disney research project, all about trying to figure out how to get a bipedal robot to be able to stand up and walk on its own. And this was really the sort of first exploration we did with a process we call reinforcement learning, where basically you take a bunch of simulated sort of computer rendered versions of droids, have them teach themselves to walk over, literally tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of trials and errors, until finally you have a computer model of something that can walk. And then you can then apply all of that same sort of logic to a real physical droid in the real world. And that whole process actually only took about a year.
Wow. Okay, so again, like I said, I geek out about all of this. So can you just give us a little bit of like BDX 101? I mean, I bet there's many droid builders in here, right? Any droid builders? So can you give us a little BDX 101 on like how they work?
I mean, we could talk about how they work, but I think it'd be a lot more fun to show you.
What do you think? Okay, let's bring out the BDX droid.
Right there.
We have our two droid operators, Bob and Robert. So both Bob and Robert have in their hands essentially what is sort of like a gate trigger various animations on the droid. So they can do things like let the droids walk forward, make them walk back
off the stage.
walk backward, articulate their heads. Part of what makes these droids so amazing and so endearing is their both, just how expressive they are. So they can do fun little emotes too, like they can make the droid feel really sad.
Oh, sorry guys.
Or they can be really happy.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes droids also get really angry too.
Oh, oh no.
But it's really this amazing combination of droid operator and technology that brings this incredible amount of believability, right? These are real live characters.
Oh my gosh. Now, are they difficult to control?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that we're constantly trying to push and innovate is just how expressive they can be. So those were just a handful of emotions. To do that, Bob and Robert are already working pretty hard to hit all the various buttons on that controller. So what we're starting to explore right now, I'm starting to see that.
Oh my gosh.
So what we're starting to explore now is actually allowing them to have even more personality, but taking some of that workload off of the operator, allowing the droid to suffer. So rather than having to maybe tell the droid we wanted to walk over to that side of the stage and manually pilot it over there, we might be able to give it a higher level command, like, we want you to go over there and have an interaction with that child and do a fun little dance. And from there, the droid might be able to do it all on its own.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. They are so cute. Now, the BDX droids have literally been on a worldwide tour. Where in the galaxy can we expect to see these little guys next?
Yeah, so they are right now down the street at Tokyo Disneyland, but in the very near future, they will also be coming to Disneyland Paris, as well as Hollywood Studios in Florida.
Very excited.
Oh my gosh. And when can I have my own? I would like one, please. Yes, can you come home with me, Glenn? I would really like to take you home. Is Is that okay? Oh, yay! Yay!
Not too,
Okay.
Ashley.
Well, and this is Bobo, right?
Bebo.
Bebo, well, you can come too. There'll be a party, a dance party, right? Okay, all right. Well, you know what? Let's hear it one more time for Bebo and Sid and Bob and Robert. And before we go, we are almost out of time, but I want to take a look. Please take a look at this celebration of our Disney parks, because what you all do, you create so much magic for all of us. Thank you so much. I think I'm not alone in being the only Disney Parks fan here, right? Are we all big fans? So let's take a look at this very special video. Real quick. I'm going off script here a little bit, but we have a couple minutes left. And I've met so many fans that, as I mentioned, you all have the coolest jobs in the galaxy. And I've met so many fans who would love also to be in your seats, and young fans who are dreaming of one day sitting here. Do you have any advice? Do you have any advice for someone who is just playing their video game but wants to build a droid, or one day work on a ride, or be an Imagineer, or work for Lucasfilm? Have a little rapid fire, any advice that you can give?
I mean, I think what's so incredible about Walt Disney Imagineering and what it takes to build a theme park is it takes truly one of every discipline you can possibly imagine. A lot of times people come up to me and ask me, I'm not, not really into math. Maybe I don't want to become an engineer. You don't have to be an engineer to be an Imagineer. You can be a writer. You can be a botanist. You can be a painter, right? Truly, as long as you're passionate about storytelling, if you have a curiosity to learn new things, anything that you can possibly study or be invested in, there's a place for that at Walt Disney Imagineering.
I would add too, like I 100% agree with all of that. I think part of it is also start doing it, right? Like start building that droid, start prototyping that game, start drawing, start practicing, like all of those things. Like if you can dream it, you can do it. It's the thing that we say all the time. And I think it's so important to be able to do the dreams that you have, right? So I would just encourage, just like go get started.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of those passions and hobbies and things you love and obsessing about them, because I think we all do that. Every Imagineer that I know and every person in film and TV has a ton of things they're passionate about that they do, that they're excited about. It keeps you more rounded as a person, and it allows you to have a lot of things to bring to the table when you actually do get invited up. You can have a lot of things that, I loved Star Wars for so long and didn't work on anything until about 3 years ago, right? But I've been secretly keeping all those passions ready to share with everybody as soon as I was able to.
No, that's exactly it. It's really follow your passions. I mean, that's 100% what got me here. I was only qualified because I knew Star Wars really well. Like, that's a really weird way to get a job, but it happened. And I've hired other people purely based on their passion, where they may not necessarily be as qualified on paper as others, but they're so clearly passionate that I know they can do the job, and I've never been disappointed by those people.
almost as long as he's been at Lucasfilm. You were actually one of my first interviews. You interviewed me for StarWars.com, and I've watched you just grow within the company. You've done so many different jobs, but you've also worked so hard. You've been one of those people that you've just said yes and. There's been no job that they haven't thrown your way that you're like, you know what? Yes and. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it well, and I'm gonna work hard. And here you are up on this stage, developing new worlds and new Star Wars story.
Thank you. It's easier when it's all the jobs is Star Wars.
yes. Well, Bevo and Glenn, do you have anything to add to that? Oh, I completely agree. That's excellent advice.
She said be cute also, I think is what he was saying.
I
it helps
agree.
Cute.
I agree. Well, you know what I think they're saying? They're saying have confidence. Confidence is the key, and if you love what you do, it's going to show on your face. And just keep pursuing it and keep living your dream, which they can do. You can do right there at Disney Parks. You can make it your own story. Thank you for coming to our panel today. Once again, let's hear it for Bob and Robert and Bevo and Liz. But also let's hear it for Asa, Anisha, Michael, and Nat. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, everyone. May the force be with you. And if they say on the two, let's all say it together. Kill the sire. Bye, everyone.
Walt Disney Imagineers put in the hard work to make Star Wars fans' dreams a reality. From Star Tours to the immersive experience of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and beyond, here to talk all about it is Asa, Anisha, and Michael.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. How has your Star Wars Celebration Japan been so far?
Oh my gosh, incredible. We've seen
Overwhelming.
the most amazing cosplay.
Yes. I mean, look at this. Look at this crowd. You guys are crazy. Yes. Love it.
Oh my goodness, the cosplay is next level. It makes me feel like I'm walking through Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you get to build Star Wars in real life, IRL, as they say. How cool is that? That's all my question is. That's all I got on the card.
It's not that cool. It's really kind of a lot of meetings.
It's not that
No, it's
cool,
amazing.
sir?
It's totally amazing. I mean, we all are like fans. I mean, I've been a fan my whole life. So the idea of getting to kind of create these things and bring them to life for our fans is like a dream come true. Like as a child, I couldn't have imagined this would be a job people could do, is actually build immersive environments and bring things to life that we see from our films and our favorite stories.
Yeah, it's like such an honor to be able to build the things that you guys get to play in, right? Like it's a place where you guys want to be, it's a place that you want to see, and it's a place that you get to go. And that's like our dream to be able to make that for you.
And the thing that I totally nerd out about is getting to work alongside the folks at Lucasfilm, Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah, give it up for Lucasfilm.
Yeah, give it up for Lucasfilm. We know those guys.
I mean, it's been just like pinch me moment after pinch me moment, getting, to be in a room with Doug Chang as we talk about what the Millennium Falcon should look like. It's just incredible.
Some of us were in a room with Doug Chang yesterday. Yeah? Okay, there we go. Speaking of the Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run at Galaxy's Edge is about to get a Mandalorian and Grogu update.
Yeah.
I literally cannot wait to see what this is because I've learned no information. I was not at the panel earlier today. So what can you tell us about this new story update?
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited to bring this to the parks. And in the same way that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge isn't about retelling the films, but rather allowing you to live your own Star Wars adventure, we're doing something very similar with this update.
Yeah, absolutely. Hondo Ohnaka, who you guys might know from Clone Wars. We got some Hondo fans.
Familiar. We got some Hondo fans.
I love that. He's got a new mission from the New Republic to track down some bounties on some Imperials, and he's kind of annoyed that this Mando guy is being sent with him as backup. But we're really excited because that means we get to go on a mission with Mando and Grogu to track down these Imperials across 4 different brand new locations.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And I believe the great Jim Cummings is back.
Yes.
As Hondo Ohnaka.
Yes.
Can you tell us any more about those 4 new locations?
Yeah, so we're going to be going to Tatooine, one of the most classic Star Wars locations of all time. We're really excited to be able to build out what it feels like to fly through Beggar's Canyon and the Mushroom Mesa pod racing style, which is going to be very exciting.
Very cool. Do you
then-
have to shout, now this is pod racing while you're doing it?
I would encourage it.
Fair.
At least
Fair.
wizard, right?
At least wizard.
At least.
You have to. You have to. And what's exciting about the other destinations you go to, right, is that it's actually going to be up to the engineers to decide which of the 3 other planets you end up on.
Yeah.
Oh.
So engineers, you get to choose between Bespin, Endor, and Coruscant.
Very cool. I've always wanted to go to Bespin personally. Now, are you just making a wish list for yourselves as you're building these sounds? You're like, I really want to go to Coruscant, so let's just build Coruscant into Smuggler's Run?
Maybe.
I think
No, that's
Austin's
it.
had like
You'll
a
never
childhood
tell.
dream to go to Endor, right?
Yeah.
That's your jam.
Yes. Oh, I love when Star Tours shows up on Endor or Kashyyyk, wherever. All right. So the update doesn't stop with Smuggler's Run, however, correct? So we recently found out that there's going to be some real adorable new cuties giving little Grogu a run for his money, perhaps, with tiny little cuties in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. How excited were you to see your sweet little baby BDX droids making their, they have not yet made their big screen debut, but they did recently take the stage to be debuted, in front of everyone and, have gotten quite a response.
Oh, I mean, they are like celebrities now, right?
They-
like
are they
don't
just the
call us
worst?
anymore. They've gone off. They don't talk to us anymore. They're hanging out with Sigourney and everybody. No, it's amazing to really see something that we created in house become this thing that was really, first of all, beloved by a ton of people. How could you not love these little fellas? But to be able to see them move into the films that we create things from, and now have them come back to the parks as well. So we're going to see more of these droids everywhere. They're right now in Tokyo, right here in Tokyo Disneyland, but they're going to be in Paris in a couple of weeks here, and then also in Hollywood Studios in Florida.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I heard earlier today they also made an appearance at the panel, correct?
Yeah.
They sure did.
Yeah.
I think they stole the show a little bit.
I mean, they might be around still.
What? Here? What?
What? You want to see the droids?
Hear a request.
You all want to see them? Should we bring them out?
I guess we could.
Let's get a chant. Here they are.
Oh, look at them.
Wow.
I told you, celebrities. Look at this.
I don't know if they fit in the carry-on. So, welcome to Bebo and Glenn.
Welcome.
Hi, Glenn. Come on, you
The
got it.
green one is Glenn,
Turbo mode.
and the blue one is
They're
Bebo.
very excited to see you. They were chanting for you earlier.
Look at the fans.
Yeah, over here.
It never fails when
you
I see
shy?
a droid rolling or walking towards me. I go like into mode of just like, hello, baby. I love you. No, I love you more. Oh my goodness! So these two, I can see why they're getting so full of themselves. Look how adorable they are. Oh, they dance.
Yeah, do a little dance, gang.
Oh my goodness.
During the panel earlier today, we played a sizzle video, and they turned around to look at the screen, and I was obsessed with them. I missed the entire thing.
Right?
Because
they're
they're so
obsessed with you
adorable.
now. So tell me, what can they do? What do these two little fellas do?
Yeah, so these droids are incredibly expressive. So they have a wide range of emotions. So sometimes, depending on how they're feeling, they can be happy. They can also sometimes get really sad.
No, don't make them
Snap
sad.
them out of it.
I know. And you better watch out, because sometimes they can be known to get a little bit angry as well. You always got to be on your toes near a BDX droid.
Amazing. Oh, all right. Do you think we could have a little dance party with these?
Oh my
two
gosh,
sweet
that sounds
droids?
amazing. All right, guys, you ready?
Yeah, I don't want them to be sad anymore. I want them
Yes.
to be optimally happy.
Yeah.
Here it is. Can we get a little?
Can we get a dance?
Shimmy?
There we go. It's like a samba almost.
Oh, that is one of the cutest things I have seen all weekend long, and Grogu was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of cute things.
A lot of competition for cuteness.
A lot of competition for cuteness, but I think I'm gonna say they're in the top 5 for me.
Yeah.
They seem happy to hear that from you.
Amazing. All right, and I know they're gonna be around. Anything else you want to tell folks about these 2 creations of yours?
Yeah, I mean, these are really the work of an incredible group of engineers at Walt Disney Imagineering who, over the course of a year, went from just the raw idea of how cool would it be to see a walking droid to the thing that you see in front of us. And so, again, the hats go off to the incredible teams at Disney Research and R&D as well.
Amazing. All right. Well, I don't think this crowd work has made them any less excited to be the celebrities that they are. I feel like, if anything, it's going to their circuits. Yeah. All right. I don't want this moment to end. I know you all don't either. But thank you all so much for stopping by. Thank you to you 2 specifically. Yes. All right. Give another big round of applause for this one. And you know what? If you go home with one, is that okay? One goes with me, one goes with you. We split them up. Perfect. All right. Day 3 of Star Wars Celebration is almost over, but still going strong. Stay tuned for more.
Good job.
Good job, guys.
This way.
This way.
Oh, yeah, you want to say hello to those folks in there?
Want to say hi?
Come on, Glenn.
Say hi to this crowd.
If you just want him to stay, make some noise, everybody.